Welcome back guys sa ating midterm part 2 for technology for teaching. Under ng part 2, we have the unit plan, lesson plan, and resource unit. Yun ang ating didiscussing sa lesson na to. No? So we have our introduction, objectives, meaning of unit. We're going to discuss basically the meaning, need and importance, guidelines for preparing unit plan, merits and demerits. Ito yung advantages and disadvantages. Format of unit planning. Okay? So, in the last unit, we have discussed about planning of teaching and the need and the importance of year plan. No? As you know, year plan helps. So, it helps the teacher to plan for the whole academic year. So, sabi natin yung part 1, di ba? A unit plan is a year plan. So, it is a long-range planning. No? So, the unit plan is essential part of the year plan. It emphasizes learning by wholes and facilitates continuity of learning. The following is our objective. Explain the meaning of unit planning, understand the need and importance of unit planning, identify the guidelines for preparing unit planning, comprehend the merits and demerits, develop the format of unit planning. Meaning of unit, good teaching does not just happen. It requires adequate and extensive planning so that the objectives, specification, teaching methods, evaluation procedure could be planned systematically. Okay, so the unit plan also requires the following: systematic approach, integrated, meaningful learning experience to the students, and it should incorporate the variety of learning activities for the students. The unit also means that when the matter in the textbook is not adequately grouped and prescribed, the teacher has to reorganize and regroup the given subject matter into the units. Trabaho ng teacher, no? na divide it, no? To divide it uh, by subject matter, no? Or sub-units ang tawag natin. Subdivision of the subject matter. So according to Princeton, a unit is as large as block of related subject matter that can be overviewed by the learner. Unit is an outline of carefully selected subject matter which has been isolated because of relationship to pupils' needs and interest. So tinetake into account natin sa paggawa ng unit or as a definition of unit, yung needs and interest ng students. Okay? So unit is an outline, taking into account carefully selected the needs of the pupils. Ano yung mga criteria? Okay? It should unify. Alam na natin yan. Or make it whole. No? Ibig sabihin, may continuity yung bawat subunit na yon. Whatever yung topic mo, you must divide it in such a way na whole pa rin siya kahit magkakahiwalay. It should emphasize psychological principle, no? Learning by whole. It should give importance to integrated learning outcomes. So integrated, the same, by making it whole, yun ang ibig sabihin ng integration. It should emphasize organization. So itong tatlo to related, no? Psychological principle, learning by whole, integration, organization. Okay, it should not present only the subject matter but learning experience. Yan. It should take into account the learning experience of the students and it should be divided in such a way similar type of contents are carefully selected or grouped. It should enable teachers to achieve a certain set of specific instructional objectives. So yan ang criteria natin. Ang isang unit, last criteria natin, dapat ma-meet ng unit na yan ang isang specific learning objective. Okay, unit plan, meaning of unit plan, baka malito kayo, yung dinefine natin sa taas is unit. Ang dinidefine natin ngayon ay unit plan. So ano daw yung unit plan? Ito yung ating ginagamit for how to divide the unit. So the teacher has to prepare a unit plan. While planning a unit, due care should be taken with regard to the nature of the subject. So pag magpaplano daw, nakadepende sa nature ng subject mo. Condition under which is to be taught, paano mo ituturo, at ano yung pangangailangan ng mga students. Unit plan is simply defined as means, ibig sabihin, way, means of organizing instructional activities. According to the Dictionary of Education, describes Uniplan as an organization of various activities, experiences, and types of learning around the central problem or purpose or sabi natin kanina, objectives. So, ino-organize natin by doing a unit plan. According to Burton, the important thing is to provide a combination of subject matters and process which will have real meaning for the learner. According to Bossing naman, unit planning consists of a comprehensive series of related and meaningful activities. Okay? Dapat may continuity yung ating mga subunits. Anong purpose? To achieve pupils' purpose and provide significant educational or learning experience. At isa na ron yung makapag-create tayo ng changes no sa behavior no ng ating mga students. What are the characteristics? The unit is organized. It must have a purpose. The unit plan should be unified. Yung kanina, singleness. Unit plan is the beginning and ending. Signifies also the continuity of the subunits. Your activity should be educationally significant. Okay? Ibig sabihin, educationally, may matututunan yung students. Hindi mo nilalagay ang isang unit or dinidivide isang unit or pinaplano dahil lang sa ibang purpose. Only one way, no? Only one purpose for education. It should be important. It should be significant educationally. The unit plan is comprehensive. Ibig sabihin comprehensive, nasa tamang scope, malawak, malalim, comprehensive discussion or ibig sabihin lahat ng related topics na discuss mo or ilalagay mo doon sa iyong unit plan. Unit plan is a practicable in the given setting, okay? Ibig sabihin nito applicable, practicable in a specific situation, no? Unit plan should have variety of activities, learning experience. Unit plan should have unit test o yung ating mga at the end of the unit plan, no? Yung teacher should be able to give test, to give evaluation. The unit plan prepared with full cooperation with student and teacher. So, again, yung principles natin sa taas, okay, incorporate dito, no? Sa pag-prepare natin ng unit plan, kailangan daw natin isa account, no? Ang needs ng students. A good unit plan provides further action. It must stimulate students for further study. O, dapat ma-motivate ang iyong mga student sa gagawin mong unit plan. Okay? Need and importance. Systematic planning is absolutely essential, no? To the present educational scenario. Systematic planning is scientific planning. Without planning, education will not move a step forward. So for every activity of human beings, planning is a prerequisite. Okay? As a professional teacher, kung di ka man teacher, kahit ano ka mang, nasaan ka mang area o industry, kailangan mo ng planning. Okay? How much more na ikaw ay teacher? So, kung ano ituturo mo, dapat nakaplano. Hindi yung kung ano lang yung maisipan mo. No? That is not how teachers discuss their lesson. That is unprofessional. So, the unit planning is likely to, ito yung ating goal, ito yung ating importance, ito yung need, kung bakit kailangan natin ng unit planning. Ensure, siguraduhin, more integration and meaningful learning. No? Unit planning incorporates, no? Sinasama natin, tinetake natin into account the great variety of learning activities. Okay? Nagre-research ang mga teacher, nagtatanong, nag-observe, okay? Kung ano yung nararapat na mga activities na pwedeng ibigay ng sa mga students niya para matuto o para ma-absorb nila yung lesson. Unit planning makes use of many kinds of learning aids and teaching aids. Unit planning meets the individual difference in the school. Hindi lang sa isang group ka dapat nakafocus. Unit plan mo should be available and should be used by and should be distributed or applied to different single individual no sa loob ng iyong classroom. Unit planning gives one opportunity for the students to choose greater appeal to diversified interests. Yan. In relation to number 4, yan. Dapat malawak yung scope mo at marami ang makakakuha. No? Hindi lang yung matatalino or yung mga fast learner, pati na rin yung mga slow learner. Unit planning gives integrated knowledge to the subject matter so that continuity in learning is possible. Yan. Integration, no, of topics. Yun ang ating goal, no? So pag i-divide mo ang isang unit sa maraming subunits, make sure na merong continuity. It is based on the psychological principle of learning by whole. Student involvement is more, so the motivation of students may be sustained throughout the year. So isipin mo, pagpaplano mo unit plan, paano ma-involve lahat ng students? Yan. Paano sila ma-motivate na makiisa or sumali or mag-participate, no, doon sa activities na ibibigay mo. Guidelines for preparing unit plan, we have objectives and specifications, content analysis, learning activities, testing procedures. Content analysis, syempre, bago natin gamitin yung or gawin yung division of subunits, division of unit into subunits, we must analyze the content at it involves reading. Yan ang mga yan ang main trabaho ng teacher, magbasa. Kasama sa content analysis, habang ina-analyze mo yung content ng isang textbook na gusto mong ituro, no? I-lesson, i-include sa yung lesson plan, you must be mindful of your objectives. Ano ba yung objective mo? Ano bang objective nung class, no, or yung subject? The general specific objective should be well stated, no? Kapag wala kang stated na objective, yan, sabog ang iyong lesson, sabog ang iyong klase. Learning activities, in order to realize objectives, you will have to organize learning activities. Yun na yung mga learning aids. Gagamit ka ng mga teaching aids, audiovisual. Okay, there are three types of learning activities. We have introductory activities, developmental, follow-up activities, and then the testing procedure. Siyempre, hindi ito kasama, no, under to ng testing procedure, okay? Follow-up activities. So, pag introductory, ibig sabihin, bago ka gumawa ng introductory activities, alamin muna kung ano na yung status ng mga students mo. Ano na bang alam nila, ano ang hindi pa. From there, you can form your introductory activities. Development activities, after na introductory mo, medyo nag-interested na sila, nakuha mo paano sila ma-motivate, then you will develop the developmental activities. After that, you will evaluate kung may na-absorb ba, may natutunan. And that is the follow-up activities. The testing procedure, under ng follow-up activities, it is the last step, no? Here, unit tests and types of evaluation tools should be mentioned. Yun na yung content ng follow-up activities mo. Merits and demerits, ibig sabihin niyan yung advantages and disadvantages. No? Advantages muna tayo, it will accommodate the needs ng iyong students. It will provide variety, learning experience. It will be based on the learning by whole principle. The units are interrelated, yon, continuity, yon, continuity of topic, no, yung relatedness. Pupil-teacher relations are good kasi nakaplano lahat, okay? Based on plan and teacher-pupil cooperation, no? Provide, no, individual differences. And then it should consist of familiar and related topics. Should be flexible, no? And it is related to social and physical environment of the students kasi na-taken into account mo lahat ng factors, na plano mo lahat. So, yan, it will be related, no, to your environment. Uses learning aids properly and incorporates certain follow-up activities or evaluation. Ano ang disadvantage ng unit plan? It is not economic kasi 1 year siya, di ba? Year plan. So medyo magastos siya. Mag-hire ka ng teacher, ng mga competent teacher, no? Para gawin yung plano na yon. It is not that easy to get related concepts for 1 year syllabus. Yan, mahirap. Syllabus is not flexible. Some units once not systematically arranged and they confuse and discourage students. Next, evaluation is not possible at lower stage. So this is our format, okay, format of unit planning. We have title of the unit, class, number of subunits, number of class period required, no? Significance and scope, general objectives, instructional objectives, introductory activities, developmental activities. Alam na natin to, instructional objectives, general objectives. Okay, mamaya magbibigay tayo ng sample. But na-discuss na natin to sa prelim and sa first part ng midterm, no? So ito yung format ng table. So under that, we have the review techniques. Ano yung review techniques? Okay. O, kung paano yung evaluation, no? Paano mo re-reviewin o evaluate yung result, no? And then, evaluation, yung unit test. Okay? Suggested follow-up activities. Itong tatlong to related, no? Under siya ng evaluation or last step, no, ng follow-up activities. And then the reference materials, no, for students, for teachers. May mga reference materials na para sa teacher lang, no? Ang example nun, yung mga modules na meron ng sagot, no? May mga answer key. Siyempre, hindi mo bibigay sa students yon, no? So, for example, we are going to discuss, no, properties of liquids. So, we have the title of the unit, properties of liquids. Then, kanino applicable, kaninong class, submit. Ito hindi to submits, ito ay subunits. Ito yung mga subunits, no? Ito yung gagawin ng teacher na breakdown or outline. Dapat itong mga subunits na to related, no? Then yung time, kung gaano katagal didiscussing in one session or kung ano man, kung ilang session man yung scope niyan. And then the scope of significance, no? The liquid is one of the essential states of matter. O parang summary to, no? Ng iyong discussion. General objectives, the pupil will get the knowledge about properties of liquid. The pupils understand the properties of liquids. Yan, ito example ng general, no? Specific naman, no, the students will recall the properties of liquids. Ito general knowledge, no, about the properties and general understanding. Sa specific, meron na tayo mga specific verb, no? For example, recall. Ngayon, notice nyo dito yung wordings, di ba? You will get the knowledge, very general, di ba? Walang specific dyan. The pupil will understand. Okay? The pupils understand the properties of liquids. Okay? So, very general, no? Dito, specific na tayo. Meron ng recall, recognize, explain, analyze, solve, and then get. So, ito mga verb na to, ito yung pinag-aralan natin ng prelim, no? Na dapat nakalagay sa objective natin specifically, no? Ito yung mga skill na dapat matutunan ng student mo actually. Dapat makapag-recall sila, dapat ma-recognize, dapat makapag-explain sila, dapat ma-develop nila yung analysis, ma-develop nila yung problem solving, dapat ma-develop nila yung manipulative skills nila or constructive skills. So kung sa specific, no, under ng specific objectives, kailangan mong ilagay yung mga verb. Ang verb na yon, yun yung mga skill na dapat ma-develop ng students mo. Okay? Introductory activities, teacher explains the three states of matter. Ano yung mga gagawin mo, no? Under those subunits. That is introductory. So, wala ka pa diyang no? Wala ka pa diyang mahirap. Introductory activities, huwag ka maglalagay ng mahihirap na topic, no? Sabi nga natin, dapat merong level, di ba? Explanation ko before, nung midterm, part 1, yung topics mo, dapat may level. Hindi yung mahirap agad, no? Hindi mo ma-motivate ang student mo kung tatambakan mo agad siya ng mga term na hindi niya maintindihan. Okay? Madali lang muna sa simula. Kaya nga introductory lang, di ba? So, explain mo muna ano yung basic, no? Definition, three states of matter. And then explain the arrangement of atoms. Okay? After na malaman nila kung ano yung mga matter, explain mo na kung ano yung composition nila, atoms. So, mga basic parts lang, no? Ini-introduce mo lang yung topic sa kanila. And then developmental activities. So, meron na tayong mga specific at saka malalalim, no, na discussion. So, since developmental activity na to, dapat kailangan mo na ng ganitong format, no? Okay? So, meron ka ng division of subunits. Ito yon, subunits. And then, meron kang description ng major content, saka yung mga basic concepts and principles involved. And then, ano yung line of attack mo or approach, no? Ano yung gagamitin mong approach para maging interesting yung iyong topic. And then, ano yung mga teaching aids, learning aids na kailangan mo para mabilis nilang ma-absorb, no? Yung dinidiscuss mo. Or after that, you have to review, you have to give a unit test, and you have to give a related follow-up activities. Then you have to give or state your reference materials kung saan mo kinuha yung mga in-explain mo or in-include mo rin sa topic. That is the unit plan. And then as part of your assignment, wala tayong quiz. this coming Sunday, but you have to submit this assignment. Number one, think of a favorite subject. And then out of the subject, make a unit plan, okay, using the format above. And then last, do not print, do not email. PM me your work or your finished outline using FB Messenger. Next, we have the lesson plan. Under the lesson plan, the same objective, structure. We have to discuss the meaning and concept of lesson plan, need and importance, guidelines for preparing lesson plan, and format of the lesson plan. Okay? So medyo mabilis na lang to kasi before, di ba, na-discuss na natin yung importance and objectives ng lesson plan, di ba? So sa unit plan, I mean sa lesson plan, ay medyo madali na, no? Ang planning natin. But still, dapat ito ay comprehensive pa rin. So this type of planning, teachers will get the necessary guidelines for the day's work. So it is a sort of guide, no? Habang nagle-lesson ka. Okay, pwede mo tong balikan once na meron kang nalimutan na part. Good lesson planning is essential to good teaching, which is the basis for the most effective teacher pupil planning within the classroom activities. Ano objective natin? Meaning of lesson plan, comprehend the need and importance of lesson plan, guidelines in preparation, and formulate the format of the lesson plan. Okay? Meaning and concept, this is detailed planning of one lesson is called lesson planning. Okay? So remember detailed planning. Okay? A good lesson plan is a guide to the teacher. It indicates the aims to be realized by teaching the lesson, or it indicates the methods to be employed and the activities to be undertaken in the class. And it also includes the realization of the aims and objectives of the unit, no, or the lesson. So it is called as the plan of action ng isang teacher. By according to Binning and Binning, it defines daily lesson planning involves defining objectives, selecting, arranging the subject matter, and determining the method and procedure. Pareho din siya ng unit planning, no? Dinidivide mo yung subject matter mo into smaller topics. Okay? So, selecting and arranging subject matter to determine or in determining the method and procedure. Lesson plan, according to Carter B. Good naman, is a teaching outline, no, of the important points of lesson arranged in order in which they are to be presented. It may include objectives, points of view as references to materials, and assignments. Lesson plan is an organized statement of general and specific goals together with specific means by which these goals are to be attained. It is a plan of action of what the teacher has to perform. It is the teacher's mental and emotional visualization of the classroom activities. It is which all the academic activities of the teacher can be seen. According to Lester B. Stands, it is a very comprehensive definition of lesson plan. It reads as lesson plan is a plan of action. Therefore, it includes the working philosophy of the teacher, his knowledge of philosophy, his information about understanding of his pupils, his comprehension of the objective of education, his knowledge of material to be taught, and his ability to utilize effective methods. Oh, medyo comprehensive nga yung kanyang definition, no? Kasi hindi lang daw, no? Hindi lang daw yung subject matter mo yung nire-reflect, no, as a teacher, hindi lang yung knowledge mo ng subject matter but also the whole philosophy, no, your knowledge of the teaching philosophy, the information and your understanding of the objective of education. So by definition, a lesson plan is a plan of action. It is a blueprint, a teaching outline. It is a creative piece of work. It is an elastic, meaning flexible, but systematic approach for teaching concept skills and understanding. It is a mental and emotional visualization of the teacher. Ano yung need and importance? Okay, it is essential for teaching. Bakit daw? Teacher has to plan a lesson, yes. Ilang ulit na natin nabanggit yan. Teacher has to plan a lesson. But Bagley, no, define it as however able and experienced the teacher, he could do never without his preliminary preparation. Yan. Kahit kapag gaano kagaling na teacher, wala kang lesson plan, hindi ka magaling na teacher. The importance ng lesson plan, it ensures definite aim. It makes the teacher to be systematic and orderly. It gives confidence. Planning helps the teacher avoid needless repetition. It saves time and energy. It ensures suitable use of learning aids at the proper time. It ensures proper assignments according to the mental level of students. It stimulates the teacher to introduce necessary questions and illustrations. Lesson planning helps the teacher to make use of principles of correlation, integration by seeking the following types of links. No? Linking new knowledge of subject, linking the lesson with the knowledge of other related subjects, linking the theory with practical application. Ang sinasabi nating learning by whole, no? The lesson planning provides sufficient help to both teachers. Lesson planning helps the teacher to base adequate mastery over the contents. Okay? So, yan ang mga importance ng lesson plan, no? Ano naman yung guidelines? Ano yung guidelines natin? Preparation, presentation, association, and comparison, generalization, and application. Under ng preparation daw, huwag ka munang maglalagay ng yung mga knowledge na hindi pa nila alam. May very basic muna yung bibigay, no? And then, ang focus mo is to stimulate curiosity muna, no? It should be brief as possible kasi hindi ka pa naman, parang nag-introduction ka pa lang, no? That is the preparation. Sa presentation, yan, medyo magbibigay ka na ng mga questions, illustrations, explanation, no? Magde-demonstrate ka na, no? Yung mag-use ka na ng audiovisual aids. Now, under ng presentation of principles of selection and division, no? The material should be wisely selected. It should be divided into different sections. Okay? Next, with the principle of successive sequence, dapat may continuity, sabi natin, di ba? It should be well connected and maintain proper sequence. Principle of integration. At the end of lesson, all learning experience should be integrated to facilitate better understanding of the whole subject matter. Association comparison, yan. Actually, no, guys, yung presentation, ito na yung result ng iyong content analysis. Okay? Sa content analysis, ito na yung principle nating ina-apply, no? Selection and division. Ano yung paano mo i-divide yung isang textbook? Halimbawa, may textbook ka, gusto mong ituro, no? Hindi mo ituturo yung buong textbook na yon, okay? Hindi ka magtuturo page by page. Hindi mo sabihin sa student mo, pakibuksan ng iyong ng page sa 10, pakibasa. Hindi ganoon, no? Yung proper teaching. From the textbook, gagawa ka ng lesson plan, gagawa ka ng objectives, gagawa ka ng related topics, doon ka kukuha. Isa-select mo lang kung ano yung importante na lesson na dapat na matutunan ng iyong students, no? Hindi lahat. Kapag na-divide mo na, na-select mo na yung mga topics mo, dapat kailangan maipag-connect mo sila, no? A proper successive sequence. And then integration, no? Learning by the whole. Okay? Halimbawa, 1 to 10, tiningnan mo sa malayo, binasa mo, magkaka-connect ba sila? In the end, may ma-achieve ba silang objective? Isang objective lang, or dalawa, or tatlo, may ma-achieve ba sila? That is the principle of integration. And then, paano mo gagawin lahat yan? Association and comparison. Steps related to the task of acquisition of new material and knowledge. No? So, hindi ka dapat nakakulong, no, sa isang topic. Kapag may naisip kang ibang topic, related topic na mahalaga, for example, may bagong update, no, dun sa iyong technology na tinuturo, dapat isama mo yon. That is the concept of association and comparison. Or may ibang topic na nakita mo, naisip mo na, ay, magandang example to dito sa aking topic, kunin mo. Okay? Para may pakita mo sa mga students mo na yung iyong topic ay ginagamit sa ibang industry. Okay? You associate the use of your topic, no? Kung gaano kahalaga ang dinidiscuss mo sa kanila in relation, no, to other part of their lives, no, or to the other part of any industry. Generalization, in this step, the teacher has to systematize the knowledge learned by the pupils in inductive type lesson. Okay? The students will have to generalize, no? Draw out conclusion or make generalization. And application, knowledge will be useful only when it is practically applicable, no? Dapat malaman ng bata saan niya gagamitin yung kanyang natutunan. Next step should also be considered, no? Lessons should be written in such a way planners should be clear, no? It should have stated aims and objectives. Formula should have a physical conditions or should take into account the physical conditions of the classroom. It should have techniques of teaching and illustrating aids. It should have lineage between previous knowledge, so yung continuity natin, no? It should provide ample activities. Okay? Be clearly shown. Okay? Questions should be well planned. There should be provision for individual attention. Use of teaching aids or visual aids should be flexible. It should include assignments for students and it should provide scope for self-evaluation. So ito na yung ating format ng lesson plan. Okay? So hindi ko nababasahin isa-isa yan. Alamin nyo na lang kung paano yung relationship nila, okay, ng bawat part. Okay? And then you will have also an assignment, no? The same na ginawa yung assignment sa unit planning. Think of your favorite subject. It doesn't have to be the same with the unit plan, no? Dapat iba naman, no? Pero kung gusto niyo the same, no problem, no? The same din yung gamitin niyo, but you should use the format for the lesson plan, no? Okay? This aim to be submitted, no, on Sunday, this coming Sunday. And then we have the resource unit. Okay, last topic. We have the meaning and concept. We have the need and importance. We have the guidelines for preparation. Okay. So unit planning approaches for classroom teaching is the most promising approach because they consist of, okay, ito unit planning to ha, hindi pa to yung resource planning, no? Out of the three daw, si unit planning pinakang promising, no? Broad comprehensive kasi 1 year siya, nandun na lahat, di ba? Series of related top activities and then evaluation of materials. Evaluation of materials for determining the outcomes of work, no? In terms of behavior, no? Okay? But yung sa subject comprehension, yan, medyo sabi nga natin, no, at the end of the lesson ay hindi agad yun ma-evaluate, no? Kasi 1 year siya. The resource unit or guide is designed to bridge, no? Ang goal ng resource unit is to bridge the gap between traditional planning and modern teaching. Okay? Ito yung ating objectives. Explain the meaning in resource unit. Bring out the need and importance of resource unit and state the guidelines and the format for the resource unit. May meaning and concept. Resource unit is a reservoir out of which the teacher works cooperatively with the students from whom he may draw helpful suggestions for developing a learning unit in the classroom. Ito yung difference nila sa unit plan at sa lesson plan. No? Kasi doon sa dalawa, hindi involve ang students. Pero under ng resource unit, pwede mong i-involve yung students mo. No? Para lang makakuha ka ng suggestion, no? Kung paano i-develop ang isang learning material, no, into a unit. Ano siya, reservoir. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo pa siya ituturo. Pinaplano nyo pa lang ituro, no? Kaya usually, ang resource unit ginagawa hindi ng isang teacher, no, ng isang group of teachers, no? Yun ang difference ng unit plan ng resource unit sa unit plan or sa lesson plan. Okay? So ayan, no? A resource unit is a systematic, comprehensive survey analysis organization of possible resources, personal problem issues, activities, bibliographies, and suggestions as to their use, no? Which the teacher might utilize in planning, developing, evaluating, proposed learning unit in the classroom. So propose pa lang siya, no? Inihanda mo pa lang. Hindi pa siya yung talagang ituturo mo. But it can be used as a resource, no? Kaya tawag sa kanya resource unit. Lavonana defines resource unit as a reservoir from which teachers can draw suggestions and materials for making teaching unit or for preparing student teacher planning. No? The Commission on Secondary School Curriculum Progressive Education Association has defined resource unit as a preliminary exploration of a broad problem or topic to discover its teaching possibilities. And according to National Council of Social Studies naman, it defines the resource unit consists of rich resources from which individual teacher can instruct procedures which will help him to teach most effective learning. So, accordingly, essential resource unit is a comprehensive analysis and organization of objectives, problems, activities, materials which form a unit in a sequence of plans for achieving the purpose of education. It is a pre-planning, pre-planning designed to guide them in the selection of instructional problems. You need an importance. Resource unit is an encyclopedia for the topic that the teacher wants to discuss. Okay? Resource unit furnishes suggestions. Resource unit provides means of helping the teacher to organize materials. Resource unit provides suggestions for teachers for translating an educational philosophy. Resource unit serves as a guide in helping the teacher to include in the learning unit certain important values. Yan. Resource unit sensitizes the teacher to all the significant problems. Resource unit utilizes the personal resource of the school. Resource unit conserves the time of the teacher. Resource unit makes possible to have teaching materials available when needed. Resource unit provides the ways and means of evaluating learning outcomes. Resource unit gives suggestions for related materials. Those are the need and importance of resource units. Ano naman guidelines natin? Resource units are of value in all learning situations involving flexibility and teaching learning procedures. So resource units are used in core program development. Yan. Kapag meron kayong syllabus no na dine-develop, yan, mas magandang mag-base ka sa isang resource units. Okay? Yung library ng mga resource units. Okay? Yun ang purpose ng resource units, no? Para maging basis ng isang core program which is in development. Resource units are best developed by a group of teachers. Resource units are likely to be most effective when they are used by the group that proposes them. Resource units should be organized and indexed. Yan. Dapat ini-store, dapat iniipon yan. No? Parang gumagawa ka ng library, no? Library of resource units. It should be kept up to date. No? Kung meron kang library ng mga resource units, yan, dapat up to date siya. A program source unit development requires that ample provisions be made for physical facilities. The workshop should be conducted during periods. Ito. Sa pagmisang kasi, yung resource units, yan, nag-undergo ng discussion. Yan. Pinag-uusapan talaga yan, no? Bago nila mabuo yung matapos ang isang resource unit, no? Yung mga teacher, ma-attend pa yan ng workshop. Yan, parang nagre-research sila, no? Nagte-train, no? Para sa isang resource unit ngayon, no? Kaya nakalagay dyan, the workshop should be conducted during periods in which teachers are paid. No? Philosophy and purposes, the purpose of resource unit should be clearly stated. Highest level of agreement among members of group must be prepared. No? Scope, the resource unit should contain a statement of the scope. Ano yung scope ng kanyang topic, no? The purpose to brief the teacher on the possibilities and appropriateness of the area for the development of teaching learning unit for a particular class. Okay? Para daw ma-prepare yung teacher, no? Placement and time allotment. The teacher should indicate or would indicate the level for which the resource unit has been prepared. Yan. Dapat nakalagay din, naka-indicate kung anong level ng mga students, no? Ginawa yung unit na yan, yung resource na yan. Concepts and generalization, major concept generalizations to be developed, and done of unit area to be clearly spelled out, keeping in view the maturity level of the pupil concerned. Ano yung alam nila, ano yung knowledge na alam nila, dapat matake into account din yun, no? During the concept and development of generalization. Anticipated outcomes, okay? An objective ng resource unit, behavioral change, no? Yan. To bring about the major areas like knowledge, understanding, skill, and attitude. Content analysis. Its purpose is to establish the content in a particular unit. It permits the teacher to visualize the broad scope of the area to be taken. Yan. Yun ang use na sa content analysis. No? Ito naman sa objectives, behavioral changes. Okay? The same with the lesson plan. No? We have introductory activities, development activities. And then, meron din siyang follow-up activities. Under ng follow-up activities, we have evaluation. No? Evaluation procedures. Discussion, observation by teacher. Self-evaluation the part of the teacher is highly desirable. Follow-up activities, the value of learning is to provide such rich experience to the learners. Yeah? So, dapat may evaluate kung talaga bang may natutunan sila. Resource materials, the same way with the lesson plan. Okay? Dapat makollect natin kung saan galing yung ating mga resource materials na nilagay sa isang resource unit. So, we have the following format no, ng isang resource unit. Title of unit and its significance, grade placement, time allotment, concepts, generalization, anticipated outcomes, analysis, suggested activities, introductory, developmental, evaluation, follow-up activities, resource materials, and reference. Okay? So, the same, assignment nyo rin to. I-convert nyo yung unit plan, lesson plan, into a resource unit and also to be submitted this coming Sunday. So that's it for our midterm part 2.